Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time since I've posted anything. There is a reason for that, it's a very personal reason. I lost my sister in September, so it's been a very difficult time trying to process everything mentally. Anyway, we are going to be having stew for our supper this evening. A nice chicken stew. It's good winter warmer, the weather's awful outside, so it's one of the best things to have. But we can't have a stew without dumplings, and I'm going to show you how I make them. It's not a tutorial, it's just my own way of doing things. Very simple recipe. We're going to need some self-raising flour, some suet, and I add parsley and ground pepper, black pepper that is, and just a little bit of cold water, 3 or 4 tablespoons full. But you'll need some extra flour just to help you with the rolling later. I've nearly finished this one, so I'm going to finish this one off and keep it going. You might hear my dog in the background, she's huffing because I'm not paying attention to her. Right, I'm going to move this to the side and get my bowl, and I'll be right back with you. Right, we're going to start with the flour. We need about 150 to 160 grams of flour. You can add a bit more as you go if you need to. Sometimes it works out where you just need a little bit more. That's 30. Alright, let me just open the next pack. That is empty, yep. So I try not to waste anything, so I try and make sure that I even get the little bits that pop out. Right, I'm going to start with 150 grams of flour. Not bad going, considering I just splodged it in. There you go, it's 152, but that'll be fine. And we're going to need about 7. I buy the shredded beef suet. You can buy it in a block and you shred it yourself, and you can make dumplings without suet, although we prefer the suet ones. Good old traditional way of making dumplings. Right, so we're going to need about 70 to 80 grams of the suet, which is again what I do. I'm probably just going to go with 75 in the middle. That's normally about average. Let's get this out. We'll get there in a minute. I have an awful habit of just tipping things out and then ended up making double portions all the time. 72. Let's go with 75. Now this stuff stores really well as long as you keep it in a cool, dry place. Right. And then next I'm going to add as much parsley as you choose to add. I normally add a bit dry parsley. You can use fresh parsley. I think that'll be enough. Give it a stir in. I might just add a tiny bit more. I say tiny bit, it's about a handful and a half. I've only got little hands. And then we're going to put pepper to taste. I know many recipes call for salt, but I don't add any extra salt to any of my food. That's personal preference. You can do what you want. It's your food, your choice. So it's really not a tutorial. I'm not a teacher. I'm not anything. Let's move the scales out of the way. I'm going to make a little well. You'll notice it's, if you just smudge it together, it'll all rub in. I probably never do anything the right way. I think it's supposed to be like breadcrumb texture, but yeah, let's get in there and give it a whirl. I've already got my stew on. I put that on early this morning actually, so I'm going to let it cook all day. And you can put anything you like in a dumpling really. You can even make cheese dumplings. You can use some dried parmesan, like the hard grated cheese, or you can add some fresh cheddar, all according to taste. This is just how we like them. Right, I'm just going to give this a little bit more of a rub in. I'm not going to be over the top with it, because, yeah, it's like when you make a crumble, it all mashes together anyway, so although I do put a bit more effort into the crumble. Dumplings just seem to come out alright for me. Anyway, each their own. Let's make a little well. We're going to start adding some water. Just add a little bit at a time. I'll start with that, bring it in. I really should have put an apron on because I get flour everywhere. What we're looking for is a nice doughy consistency, one that's not too wet and not too dry. So you can always add a little bit of water in at a time. So this is purely the way I do things. This is not a tutorial. I am probably one of the world's messiest cooks. Let's keep mixing this. A little bit more water, I think. If I look at a recipe, I always get confused with the tablespoons because everyone's tablespoons are different sizes. So I just go by hand and feel. You don't need an awful lot of water when you're doing dumplings, although I do need some more because that is not enough. Let me just grab some more water. Right back. There's always cold water you use because when you're moving it around with your hands you're creating extra heat, which isn't good when you're making doughs or pastries or anything. You want cold hands ideally and cold water. Well, that's what I was always told anyway. Anyway, we're getting there. The dog's found her bone, so she is happy. So I do this to our taste, and this should make about 6 medium to large dumplings. But never have a stew without dumplings. I think now I've actually put too much water in, but that's fine because you can just add a tiny little bit more flour if necessary. And do it, please. Now I'm not going to pop these into my stew just yet. I will, however, I did put too much water in that time, pop them, I will roll them, pop them in a container and then pop them in the fridge. Ooh, sorry, that was my washing machine. Let me just grab a tiny little bit more flour. That'll do. You'll need extra flour anyway to roll your dumplings. You need it. There we go. I'll actually get 8 dumplings out of this. Make them slightly smaller. Really a bit more. There we go. Right. I think that should be about right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turf it out onto a floured side. I just put some flour onto my side. I'm the most messiest cook. I'm going to pop that there a second. I'm just going to wash off my hands and I'll be right back. Right, so I have clean hands again, and I have my Pyrex dish which I'm going to pop my dumplings into and pop those in the refrigerator until about 40 minutes to half an hour before it's time to pop them into the stew. Right, I think we're going to get 8 dumplings out of this. Try and sort of break them apart evenly. Hold on, pen. Right, and then we're going to give them a nice little roll. I always roll them in my hands. Hold on, Penny. Right, so about that sort of size. It doesn't matter if there's any breaks in it. They're going to fluff up in the stew later on. Now, this time of year I do tend to start trying, to make some extras, and then I pop them in the freezer and then they're just ready to go. Right, let's eat dumplings. My son, who is the most fussiest eater, loves my dumplings also. So nice, simple, good old-fashioned dumplings. Right, that's it. And try and get them as even as you can. Hold on, Missy, and I'll get you out in a second. Yep, trying to make them as even as you can. Mine are not particularly even, but a child size, adult size, however way you want to do it. I am now going to pop the lid on those and pop them in the fridge and then clean up this mess. Hopefully, if I remember, I'll show you, I'll pop a picture in at the end and show you the end results. I can't promise to remember. It's been a bit of a stressful time lately, so hopefully I do, and then you can see how they come out. Anyway, hope you're having a good day. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay safe.